Could your company's chatbot actually get you sued? I mean, really sued? Well, one major airline found out the hard way, and it's a story about customer service, AI, and a promise that turned into a very, very expensive legal lesson.
It's a huge question, and one every business leader should be asking themselves right now. If you deploy an AI to talk to your customers, who's ultimately on the hook for the promises it makes? Well, in 2024, Air Canada found out the answer, and spoiler alert, it was a very loud and very expensive yes. Their story is just a perfect real world example of the risks of this new tech, and we're going to break it all down. To really get our heads around how something like this could even happen, we need to start with a better way of thinking about AI. So forget all the sci fi stuff for a minute and just think of AI as a universal intern. And for this explainer, we're leaning on some really powerful analogies from Sriram Gopalan's book, Bridge the Gap, which does a fantastic job of making complex technology super clear for business folks. Okay, so let's meet Al, our AI intern. Now, Al is a genius. He can write, he can summarize, explain complicated ideas in a snap. But, and this is a big but, he has two fatal flaws. He has zero short-term memory and absolutely no ability to fact-check. He will confidently tell you anything, even if he just made it up on the spot. So, what happens when you put an intern like Al in charge of talking to your customers? All right, so keeping this idea of our brilliant but kind of clueless intern Al in mind, let's dive into what happened when Air Canada basically put him on the front lines of customer service.
The book breaks these incidents down into a really simple structure. First, you've got the situation. Air Canada rolls out a chatbot on its website. Then comes the behavior. A customer named Jake Moffat, needing to travel after his grandmother passed away, asks the chatbot about bereavement fares. The bot, our intern Al, confidently tells him he can just buy a full-price ticket and apply for the discount later. And finally, the impact. Mr. Moffat does exactly what the chatbot said, gets denied the refund, and ends up taking Air Canada to court. The result? The court sided with him and forced the airline to honor the promise its AI intern completely invented.
And this is where the story just gets wild. You're not going to believe this. In court, Air Canada's lawyers actually tried to argue that the chatbot was its own thing, a separate legal entity, and that the airline wasn't responsible for what it said. The judge, as you can probably guess, was not having it. The ruling was crystal clear. The chatbot speaks for the company, period. So you're probably asking, why? Why would the AI just make something up? Why would it lie? Well, the answer really gets to the core of how these large language models actually work. And that brings us to this fantastic analogy, spicy autocorrect. See, the AI doesn't know that Paris is the capital of France the way you or I do. It's really just a super-powered pattern matching machine. It's analyzed billions of texts and has learned that the word Paris is the most probable word to come after the phrase, the capital of France is. So when it told Mr. Moffat about the refund policy, it wasn't checking a rulebook. It was just predicting the most plausible sounding answer it could generate. Okay, so if our intern is prone to just making things up, how on earth can you ever trust it to do real work? Well, you don't let it answer from memory. You give it the answers. The solution is what the book calls an open book exam. It's brilliant. Instead of letting the AI guess, you use a technique called retrieval augmented generation, or RAG for short. Your system finds the correct official document, in this example, the actual Q4 sales PDF, and tells the AI, hey, answer the question based only on what's in this document. This forces the AI to use your company's data as the single source of truth, and it stops it from just making things up. So as you can see, the Air Canada story is way more than just a technical cautionary tale. It's really a fundamental business lesson for anyone working in the AI era. So let's wrap up with the big takeaways here. First, always treat AI like an intern, not some all-knowing oracle. Second, remember it's just spicy autocorrect. It's predicting text, not recalling facts. Third, to use it safely, you have to give it that open book exam with your company's real data using RAG. And maybe most importantly, remember that in the eyes of your customers and the law, your chatbot speaks for you. You own its promises, and you will pay for its mistakes. This whole breakdown, from the universal intern to the spicy autocorrect to the Air Canada war story, it all comes directly from Chapter 14 of Sriram Gopalan's fantastic book, Bridge the Gap. If you really want to understand the principles behind the tech that's changing your business, I highly recommend checking it out. You can even scan the code right on the screen to learn more. And hey, for more explainers just like this one that turn these complex tech topics into clear, actionable business insights, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.